Welcome to our channel where shadows dance and whispers echo with the terror of forgotten things. Today we bring you three terrifying tales of cursed amulets, ancient relics imbued with dark, unspeakable powers. Turn off the lights, sit back, and prepare to be haunted by the chilling stories of the abandoned amulets. Deep within the unforgiving sands of a forgotten desert lay a tomb. Not a grand mausoleum, but a place of dark secrets, its entrance hidden by the shifting dunes. It remained undisturbed for centuries until a twist of fate revealed its entrance once more. A team of unsuspecting archaeologists, driven by the thrill of discovery, stumbled upon this forgotten tomb. They dared to breach its depths, unaware of the sleeping darkness within. The air inside the tomb was heavy, thick with the weight of centuries. The stench of decay clung to the air, a suffocating miasma that sent shivers down their spines. They pressed on, their lanterns casting flickering shadows on the tomb walls, revealing faded murals of ancient rituals and forgotten gods. And then they found it. In the heart of the tomb, resting upon a crumbling altar, lay the amulet. It was a thing of obsidian darkness, a teardrop of solidified night, pulsing with an energy that seemed to draw the very warmth from their bodies. The amulet was cold to the touch, its surface unnaturally smooth, beckoning them to claim its power. One by one, the archaeologists succumbed to its allure. They took turns wearing the amulet, each feeling a strange sense of power coursing through their veins, a dark euphoria that whispered promises of forbidden knowledge. But the amulet's gifts were a double-edged sword. Slowly it began to twist their minds, dragging them into a spiral of madness. Their dreams became nightmares, haunted by shadowy figures and whispers of forgotten tongues. Their waking hours were plagued by paranoia, a gnawing fear that something was watching them. The darkness that clung to the amulet began to seep outwards, staining their souls, turning their ambition into greed, their curiosity into obsession. They turned on each other, driven by paranoia and fueled by the whispers of the artifact, each one convinced that the others sought to steal the amulet's power for themselves. The once respected academics, driven mad by the amulet's influence, tore each other apart within the very tomb they sought to plunder. Their bodies, twisted and broken, were left to rot alongside the remnants of a civilization long gone. The amulet, however, remained. It lay upon the altar, pulsing with the stolen life force of its victims, a silent testament to the insatiable hunger for power. The desert wind howled outside, a mournful cry that carried the whispers of the dead, the echoes of the archaeologists' final moments, forever bound to the cursed amulet. And so, the tomb returned to its slumber, swallowed once more by the sands of time, a silent sentinel guarding its secrets. In a time when the line between reality and superstition was blurred, there lived a woman named Ilara. Known throughout her village as a healer, a midwife, a woman of wisdom, Ilara held the community together with her knowledge of herbs and remedies, but whispers followed her like shadows. They spoke of her solitary nature, her affinity for ravens, and the strange, pulsing pendant she wore around her neck. A bloodstone, the color of dried blood, set in a tarnished silver cage. The villagers believed the pendant was the source of her power, a conduit to forces beyond their understanding. They came to her with ailments, with worries, with fears, and Ilara, with her calm demeanor and knowing eyes, offered solace and solutions. Yet none dared to ask about the pendant. It pulsed with an unsettling energy, a faint thrumming that seemed to echo their own heartbeats. They feared what they might learn, what darkness might be bound to the woman they relied upon. One harsh winter, a sickness ripped through the village, a plague that spared no one. Ilara, armed with her knowledge and her herbs, fought tirelessly against the invisible enemy, but the plague was relentless, and her remedies, usually so effective, seemed to fail against this unseen foe. Despair gripped the village, and whispers, once hushed and respectful, turned accusatory. The villagers, desperate and terrified, began to point their fingers at Ilara and her bloodstone pendant. They claimed the pendant, a source of unnatural power, had attracted the plague, a punishment for meddling with forces beyond mortal comprehension. Fueled by fear and grief, they stormed Ilara's humble cottage, accusing her of witchcraft, of bargaining with dark forces for her powers. They demanded she relinquish the pendant, destroy the source of their misery. Ilara, her heart heavy with their accusations, denied their claims, pleading with them to see reason, to understand that the plague was a force of nature, not of magic. But their minds, clouded by fear, were set. They dragged her to the village square, a pyre already built, its flames licking at the night sky, casting grotesque shadows that danced with the villagers' fear. With the flames reflecting in her tear-filled eyes, Ilara made a final plea. Not for her life, but for their understanding. She held out the bloodstone pendant, offering to cast it into the flames, not as an admission of guilt, but as a symbol of their shared grief, a sacrifice to appease their fear. But it was too late. The villagers, consumed by their terror, saw only a witch's confession in her actions. They watched as she threw the pendant into the heart of the fire, a collective gasp escaping their lips as the flames roared and turned a sickly green, consuming the pendant in their fiery embrace. The plague, as if by some cruel twist of fate, began to recede shortly after that night. Chapter 3: The Whispering Locket. In the heart of a bustling city, overshadowed by towering structures of glass and steel, stood a relic of a bygone era, Blackwood Manor. Once a grand estate, whispering tales of lavish parties and tragic romances, it now stood derelict, its windows like vacant eyes staring out at the world. Passers-by would quicken their pace, avoiding the manor's gaze, their skin prickling with unease. For Blackwood Manor held a secret, a darkness that lingered within its decaying walls, embodied in a small, unassuming locket. The locket, discovered by chance in the manor's attic, was a thing of tragic beauty. Crafted from tarnished silver, it depicted a weeping willow, its branches delicately etched onto the locket's surface. But it was the locket's contents that held the true darkness. Inside, nestled against a faded portrait of a young woman with hauntingly sad eyes, was a lock of hair, as black as midnight, and a single folded piece of parchment. Word of the locket spread through the city's underbelly, whispered in hushed tones in antique shops and occult bookstores. It found its way into the hands of collectors and thrill-seekers, each drawn to its tragic aura. But the locket's beauty was a siren's call. Those who dared to wear it, to hold it close to their hearts, soon found themselves plagued by whispers. Faint at first, like the rustling of leaves carried on the wind. The whispers, emanating from the locket, spoke of forgotten tragedies, of heartbroken lovers, of lives cut tragically short. At first, the whispers were intriguing, a glimpse into the past, a connection to the souls who once walked the halls of Blackwood Manor. But the whispers grew stronger, more insistent, worming their way into the wearer's thoughts, their dreams. They whispered secrets, dark and terrible secrets, of the manor's past, of the people who had lived and died within its walls. The whispers became a torment, a constant barrage of sorrow and despair, driving the wearers to the brink of madness. One by one, the locket's owners succumbed to its influence. Some disappeared, vanishing without a trace, their fates unknown. The end, or is it? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown, a glimpse into the world of cursed objects and the darkness they hold. Remember, these are just stories. tales whispered in the shadows, but they serve as a chilling reminder that some things are best left undisturbed. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling tales from the abyss. Until next time, beware of the shadows and the relics they hide, for you never know what whispers they might carry.